McConnell and the rest of Republicans are ignoring Matt Gaetz, they're focused on what's happening in Georgia. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell yesterday continued his criticism of corporations weighing in on politics in the wake of some companies speaking out against Georgia's controversial voting law.
My warning, if you will, to corporate America is to stay out of politics. It's not what you're designed for. You know, Republicans drink Coca-Cola too. And we fly. And we like baseball. If I were running a major corporation, I'd stay out of politics. I'm not talking about political contributions. Most of them contribute to both sides. They have political action committees. That's fine. It's legal. It's appropriate. I support that.
So, David Drucker, obviously corporate money has been the lifeblood of politics and Republican politics for a long time. Mitch McConnell pointing out specifically, I'm not talking about money in politics. What he said later in his office said was he's talking about politics jumping into partisan fights of the day and taking a side on issues that may cost them voters later, that may cost them supporters and customers later.
Right. So it's, really, it's one thing to fight about tax policy, regulatory policy. What is happening now, and this is somewhat new, but it's been a feature of the politics over the last 4 years, are big businesses and corporations, American corporations, iconic brands getting involved in our cultural politics, right? And so much of, especially on the Republican side, but really writ large, so much of our politics are cultural. And I think what Mitch McConnell obviously worries about is that the alliance between businesses and the Republican Party has been fruitful for both. They share the same tax and regulatory agenda. Republicans aren't voting for lower corporate taxes because they're getting donations. They're voting for them because they believe in them. Corporations believe in them, and so therefore they support these Republicans that are for the same policies they are for. But what has been going on with the Republican Party as the populists within it have risen and cultural politics has come to the fore is a split, because a lot of these businesses are worried about the health of their brands long term. They have employees to contend with, but they also have younger consumers that are coming up with different ideas about how companies should conduct themselves and different ideas about public policy. And right now, I can't tell, to be a little cheeky about it, if this is Neil Sedaka's Breaking Up Is Hard to Do, which is sort of upbeat, and say, look, there's no way we're actually breaking up because we need each other too much, or this is a version of the Judy Collins song, Send in the Clowns, where this thing is over and done with. I don't think we know yet, but I know that there is a difference between Republicans and small businesses, entrepreneurs, and they still get along very well. But Republicans, whether they're right or wrong about this, are taking great offense to the idea that they believe they have supported some common sense voting measures in various states, notwithstanding the motivations. And we know what the motivations are. They don't like the way the 2020 election ended up, and they're looking to change things because of that. But they feel like they're being penalized and that it's punitive and that it's unfair. And they're trying to make this a bigger issue in order to push back and regain some leverage. And the question is, how are voters going to respond to this, both in the states where these battles are playing out? And Georgia is a swing state. It's not a blue state. It's a battleground. And this could swing either way in a midterm election where you have a Democrat in the White House. Or do you end up with one side or the other coming out on top on an issue like this? And I think that's what Republicans are watching closely. And that's what McConnell's watching closely, is how does he keep an alliance together that has been very helpful to his party?
Michelle, the clip we played earlier of Mitch McConnell was actually laugh out loud funny if you think about it, because in the early fall and early winter of 2017, Mitch McConnell had dialed a CEO on his phone in his office. He was calling every CEO in the country, urging them to get behind the tax bill that they were about to pass in December of 2017. And yet now they are trying to mix what happened with Major League Baseball and other companies with regard to the Georgia voting scandal as a cultural issue. But voting is not a cultural issue, correct?
Of course not. And look, the idea that Republicans think that it's somehow untoward for corporations to get involved in public debate is completely risible. A huge issue in our politics, especially since Citizens United, has been the conservative contention that corporations should have the same free speech right as individuals. If they want to join Democrats in restraining kind of unlimited corporate speech, particularly through campaign spending, I think that there's plenty of Democrats who would welcome that. But what you see here is a conflict between the counter-majoritarian elements of the Senate, right? The Senate basically, and particularly Republicans in the Senate, depend on the continuance of minority rule. It's been a long time since they have sought to appeal to the majority of the country. Rather, they're kind of using both they're using both voter suppression and just the counter-majoritarian elements of our Constitution to make sure that a minority can remain in power even if the majority despises what they're doing.
Hey, thanks so much for watching our YouTube channel. You can follow up on today's top stories and breaking news, or catch up on your favorite MSNBC shows all in one place. Download the NBC News app today.